Hey everybody, welcome back to the next episode of Here's My Issue. So this episode we're going to talk about generalities in terms of what the candidates are saying and why what they're saying really isn't being specific and the things they're missing and the things we need to watch for when we're listening to our candidates. We've had a debate on December 12th, an on-air presentation by WPR, and they had both of the candidates for the Democratic side for the Democratic primary, Tricia Zunker and Lawrence Dale, and they answered some questions and answered some phone calls. That was interesting. You can catch that on the WPR website. They also then had Tom Tiffany and Jason Church on, but the two candidates then did the same thing. They answered some questions and they answered some phone calls. Now, what's my concern? What's my issue with all this? When you listen to the candidates, they're not being very specific. They're speaking in generalities. They're speaking in terms of things that'll catch your ear without making any real commitment to what's important or how they're going to change anything or what message they're going to carry or what bills they're going to introduce. They really are doing this to encourage PACs and super PACs and outside money to help them fund their campaign and get elected. I mean, that's really all they're focused on. They're trying to get elected by getting enough money so that you hear their name, and then when you go into the polling booth, you vote. And for me, I tend to believe that here in Wisconsin, we're a little smarter than that we can take a look at a candidate and we don't need to hear a lot of baloney. We want to hear something that's real. In the debate hosted by No Better Friend, there was a question about the budget and what are we going to do about the budget. We hear things like, well, we're going to go for a balanced budget amendment. And we've got issues with mandatory spending and entitlements. And when they talk about mandatory spending and entitlements, they're fainting at, we need to get rid of Social Security. And watch Church tell you, yeah, well, we've all paid into Social Security, but we've got to do something about this uncontrolled spending. Social Security isn't uncontrolled spending. Social Security isn't mandatory spending. Social Security is not an entitlement. We've been contributing to Social Security separate from the federal budget since its inception. Church doesn't tell you that. Church doesn't say to you, we need to do things like get more jobs back in this country. We need to do things like make sure we are training people for better jobs so they make more money so they can contribute more to Social Security to help us all continue to retire and get Social Security. He's actually advocating that we eliminate financial aid in the form of loans from the government, loans that are guaranteed by the government so that students can go to school, not have to pay the loans, and pay them when they get out of school because their parents make a certain amount of money but don't have enough cash to pay for it. So if they didn't do that, they couldn't go. So Church is saying, well, if you don't have enough money and your parents don't make enough money that they have enough cash to write the check, you just don't get to go to college anymore. And that's his answer to dealing with the federal budget deficit. Tiffany, on the same stroke in the debate, said the same thing. He fainted at the fact that, we need to get rid of mandatory spending. We need to get rid of entitlements. But you need to define that. Okay, well, I thought we need to do something about the budget. I thought we need to cut spending. Well, the only way we're going to fix where we're at right now is to come up with a program that cuts everything. Everybody's got to feel the pain. We've got to get the budget back to being less than what we're taking in. That's really easy. So here is one of my campaign brochures. And this, we're going to pretend, is the budget. So we can see how big the budget is, right? Now, if we turn it around, I'm going to draw this line across, and that line represents how much revenue we take in. So as we can see, we've got more budget than we do revenue. Now, I don't know how you do your budget, but when I'm doing my budget and we want to buy a new car, if we're spending all the money we're taking in, I can't buy a new car. So what do we got to do to the budget? You got to take something from everywhere to bring it down so you can spend that money. But right now, we're already spending more than the budget. So it works like this. Now, this is the budget. And this is what's got to be spread over all the people's budgets in Congress that they're trying to protect. It comes out of everything so that we have a budget that's less than the income we're bringing in. But see, our candidates aren't talking like that. because that's dangerous talk, because who's going to lose what, right? So we got all these politicians, all these attorneys. They're not going to get the kind of money we're seeing them get here in recent articles in the news. And so they don't talk like this. And they just make, well, we need a balanced budget. And we need to get rid of entitlements. And we need to get rid of mandatory spending. And I'm going to defend the Second Amendment. Not, I'm defending the Second Amendment. Who's gonna? It's not what we need to hear. We need to hear specific conversation. We need to hear specific ideas. We need to be specific, and our candidates are not. He's saying whatever you want to hear in order to make you feel good and circle the vote. Challenge your candidate to be more specific, to make promises about how they're going to bring jobs into this country. Jobs, jobs. Let's talk about jobs, jobs, jobs. So let's talk about jobs, because jobs fix a lot of problems. So what does Tiffany want? What does Church want? I don't know. We need to be specific. Have a great day. I'm Michael OPELA, and I approve this message. Paid for by Trailblazers for Michael OPELA Committee.